Presentation of the day. You got to sit through me. It's been kind of a strange day for user group doing it virtual because we've always done them live all day, Paul and I, and then our support group, and sometimes you as well. And I miss the interaction live, but this is the next best thing. And thank you all for coming out. It's fun. We're able to do a lot of good things for you. And you had a really great line of speakers today. Some of my good friends, Heather and Amy, and some of the others as well. So this last piece I want to show you, many people have said, you did a presentation a long time ago on how to layer hiding your reports. What I did was I created a real simple one a long time ago off of the analysis toolbar using the filter bar, the drill filter, where it creates a little drill filter for each dimension you define. But the problem is it would be single value, and you had multiples, and it was a bit convoluted, and it wasn't flexible at all. So we came up with this, and I got the finished product here. Then I'm going to flip back over and show you the components of it for time's sake. First of all, here's a banner. Amy was looking to show the banner. Well, I actually happen to have an example here of it at something called Marquee. So if you wondered how that was displayed, the Marquee, I actually have the definition here defined with exactly how it's defined, providing you set up the CMC settings like she had identified as well. But the idea was this. I want to be able to go out. I want my user to be able to go out, and I want them to be able to pick a report. So they said, well, I want the vertical table. Okay. Oh, I timed out on this one. Look at that. So got to come back in here, it looks like. If I get to restore quickly, maybe it will. Save me a little bit of time on it. So if I selected vertical table, I only wanted the vertical table to show up. If I selected cross table, I only wanted the cross table to show up. And if I selected pie chart, I got a pie, or I got a 3D column. And you envision how you would use this in a dashboarding world where you might have 3 types of charts going down and maybe 3 reports on the right or vice versa, whatever. But I also wanted an option that would allow me to come in and select all, where I could see all of them at once in a different format. And notice I had the little marquee message to remind them, all equals report and chart, however you wanted to do it. It's surprisingly so easy to set up as well. All right. So what do we need to do? Let's show you just the building blocks, short amount of time. And I did it this way for time's sake. I've got another one opened up out here. So here's the 4 blocks that I had pulled out. And what you end up doing is layering them on top of each other. And then I had to replace all of it with the set of 4 that you see here as well. So here's the working copy they want to do. And what I did was I created I created a local variable called switch, which is a dummy variable, okay? And the switch value will vary. And what I did was I created an input control. Let me go out to my input control window. From my analysis, go out to input controls. And let's look at switch, look at how it's defined. Do a next on it. And it was set up to be a list of values was custom. I allow selection of all values. I had set up my way for that one. And let me finish this one up. And I've got my switch, which was defined over here. So now what I need to do is, well, let's make sure I think this copy doesn't have all the values that I defined. That's the dummy one that I'm using. So I'm going to have to flip back over to the other side here, to the hiding blocks, one that I had here. I'll go over to the duplicate blocks, make sure I've got my right example up here. So what I do is I created an input control called switch, set to all right now, but it would vary depending on what the user selects, and it would pull it in from there. So from my input control side of the shop, let me make sure I bring it up here. I don't have it in this one here. Okay. So let's do it by looking back at the report then and working it off of here. We got in the process. So this is what the finished product would look like. So what I had was I created a switch. And then we'll go in and we're going to edit the input control. I got to get it in the right spot. I'll make the handout of this available to you, by the way, so you'll be able to use it. So we're going to got it already set up here, defined for my input control. So the way it works is, we'll show you right here, the switch, which comes in on the input control side right here. Here it is. Here's the all option. Here's where I wanted to edit it. I didn't want to edit it as a variable, but so what I defined was over here under custom. I set up the input control called switch, and it's just a dummy variable, and I set it equal to vertical table, cross table, 3D, pie, or all. Those are all the options I set it up for. Okay, for the back, and that's the drop-down window that comes up. And based on what you select, what I do is this. This is how easy it was. I created the 4 blocks initially, okay, and then I set it up so that when I select the appropriate one in here, it hides all the other ones and layers it behind. Well, how do we do that? I'm going to go to Format Table along the edge, make it very easy for you. And for this one, it says when the switch is not equal to cross table, this is hide when the following is true. Okay, so if it's not cross table, it's going to hide it because that's the one I did for the cross table. Okay, very simple. And then I go back to vertical table. We did a similar thing, and we went, whoop, selected vertical table. Come on, guys, give me my format table. Similar thing here. And I said if the switch is not equal to vertical table, it will hide it. So if it is vertical table, that will show up. And then I did it for all 4 of these. So we did the 3D column chart, very similar thing. We go in this case, format chart. Instead, the hide logic is all the same for the format chart feature here. Hide when the following, when it's not equal to 3D column, it's going to hide it there. And then when I selected, we'll do the last one here. I selected the pie chart here. We did a similar kind of thing for that. Format chart. And we had hide when the switch is not equal to pie chart, it'll hide it. Otherwise, it will show up as well. And then I added the marquee. I added some hide logic into that as well. It's a cell that we used the banner feature for it. And then I went back in and did all. So you saw how we built the component pieces. We built the input control. I just happened to call it switch. Then I loaded in all the values. Heather, who just presented, did a real nice one on this a little while ago in a presentation for the IBIS, Let's Speak VO IBIS one. You might want to look at hers as well. She showed percentages or rankings, 25, 50, 75, or 100%. Really nice job. It gives you yet another example. So if you check hers out as well, you get just yet one more for it as well. So that was fine for this, but then we ran into an issue. How do I do all 4 of them? Well, I stacked them all up on top of each other for starters. And those are all 4 stacked up on top. And then I laid out the 4 here literally a second time, so I had duplicated these out here. So I actually kept a tab where I brought in the duplicates, okay? Dropped all 4 of them out there, different ways you could do that. Then I went in for each one of those for the duplicate one, and we can show it to you. The best way to show it to you is right on the report itself. So when all 4 are showing up, this is the format table. And this one had when the switch is not equal to all. And this is what confuses people on it. He said we had it not equal to cross table or vertical table or whatever. Well, that was when we stacked all 4 up. So there's actually a double set of charts. These 4 are independent. Then underneath here, there are the 4 charts, or 2 charts and 2 reports that stack up based on which one I pick. Okay. So now I'm going to see just the one, or the cross table, or the 3D, or the pie. Okay. So it's literally 4 separate blocks stacked up on top of each other. Now, if I wanted, I could build links into other ones. I didn't do that to keep it simple. Okay. But then when I did select the all that comes up here is bringing up a set. Let it come up. These are 4 separate charts. These are not to be confused with the ones we saw when we selected the individual. So I had to get very tricky. All I did was use my hide logic to do that. Created the dummy variable, the switch, and then set the values for that switch, as you saw. This is the heart and soul right here, picking a list of values custom, loading them in. And as you defined each one of these, I used my own all because I wanted better control over the all option than what it would have provided me with the input control. And, I used the combo box single value for this one. And I decided it would be kind of neat to add the marquee in on the top, which is why I did that as an additional reminder, so that when they're looking at the single stack that's here, they still have the ability to be reminded that you could see all of them at one time if you chose to do it. So you can get really, really fancy with input controls. Again, one that I had done a while ago was just real simple drill features. You might or might not be filters. There's a filter bar feature that you can do here that adds a filter bar on top. And you can add a dimension into here. So you have to pick which one you want to bring in. I could say, well, let's do one for time period for year. It creates a drill filter you would use and drive it off of there. But it was too restrictive for that one. I didn't like that particular one for that. So I thought we need something more advanced, more complex, but simple to work with, and that's what you saw us do right here. Go in and get rid of these when we're done. I don't want that one out there. So this is a much more powerful, much more flexible one, yet the simplicity of it is nothing more than a single input control gadget you saw here. It was a dummy variable switch. Okay. Added the banner feature in, as you saw, for displaying that, and there's the definition for that one as well. So Amy's got that. She'll make it available to you. I also have a separate little handout I put together on adding these types of banners in to headers and so on. And she gave us some good ideas of other things to be factored in as well. So not a real long one. I didn't want to build it from scratch. If I built it all from scratch, it takes way too long. So I just wanted to basically build the pieces of it so you could see it all here and how you can drive it off of input controls very easily. Let's edit it again. And could have combined in other options as well, but it gives you a real nice feel for how easy it was to lay these all out. And then I did the background image as well. How did I do that here? There's an image option up here under formatting. Let's throw that last little piece in there. And we did background image here. And I brought in that background image from separate source. I'm not going to change it now, but I'll show you where I got it from. And I picked the background JPEG that you saw that was there. And then you got to remember when you do that and set it all up to stretch it so it stretches out the full effect of the window. Otherwise it gets trimmed off and you have your beautiful background in the background but only covering a portion of it, and it laid it out very, very nice. So very simple, very straightforward. If you think about it, there isn't that much to it. It's a matter of getting the layering is the hardest part. You know, coordinating your settings so that as you're bringing each one. And originally they would move over to the right, and I dragged them over to the left side when I selected that option. When I selected another option, that one disappeared. And we ultimately ended up dragging all three on top of the original one there and controlling it all simply with the input control that was defined. So you can create all kinds of dummy variables and use them in input controls to define different lists, menu type lists that you see right there. So basically that was what I wanted to show you today. And for those that are interested, I can make it available to you, and you also get a peek at the Marquee feature as part of it as well, and kind of fill in the blanks. So I'll open up for any questions you might have. I tried to keep this last session in the day a little bit shorter because I know everybody's been at it since around 1 o'clock. So a lot of fun to put this together and not difficult at all. So if you want to see my older version of it, it's called Now You See It, Now You Don't. And then, like I said, Heather, who just presented, had one she did recently that was real good as well. I'm always looking for ideas on how other people do things as well. So, and then expanding out on things that I've put together in my staff in the past. And this goes all the way back to the original one with the drill filters, which is just too limiting. So